Hello guys, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be talking about Granit Xhaka's probable departure to Bayer Leverkusen and why it matters so much that Arsenal have squeezed a bit more money out of the German team for him. Before we do, just want to say if you're enjoying these videos, please do like, subscribe, comment, all the things that persuade the algorithm that this is reasonable content. That'd be very much appreciated. I'm trying to build an empire, basically. I've come to vlogging about 20 years late. And I've decided that I'm going to conquer it. Look out, KSI, I'm coming. Granit Xhaka. Reports have come out that Arsenal are close to agreeing a €25 million deal for him to join Bayer. £21.5 million, that translates at as approximately. I am much happier with that than I was a little while ago when we were reading reports of 15 million euros, 13 million pounds, something like that for Granit Xhaka. I thought that was ludicrous. I know that the market is strange and it's very determined by who the buying club is and the extent of their need, and maybe there was a feeling that Arsenal and Xhaka kind of had a handshake agreement that he could go this summer. But he's 30. He's not 34. And he's playing at the peak of his powers. I mean, last season played 36 Premier League games. Came off the bench in one, missed only one match in the Premier League, scored 7 goals, made 7 assists, scored another couple of goals in the Europa League too, so 9 goals and 7 assists across the entire season. It was a fantastic year from him, and Bayer Leverkusen are getting a really outstanding, ready-made, plug-and-play central midfielder who will substantially improve their team. And Arsenal are losing a player that has been really, really important to the way we've played. And actually, while I think last season was obviously his most eye-catching and the role that he played liberated him from some of the issues that have dogged his game and I think showed him in a more flattering light, he has actually been playing that more advanced role for quite some time. He did it for the second half of the preceding season. And I think his form generally has been very good for 2 or 3 years now. Add in the fact that he's a player that is never injured and he's very valuable to this squad. So I'm glad we're getting a bigger fee. I'm also glad we're getting a bigger fee because of the message it sends. Now, this is a summer where Arsenal need to sell some players. Do they need it for the bank balance? Probably, given the money that we're spending. But more so than that, we just need to see it to know that it's something we can do. There are 3 parts to Edu's job as sporting director, as he is now, not technical director. And those, when it relates to the men's first team, are player recruitment, player retention, and player sales. And I've said it countless times, but I think he has really proven his point on player recruitment. I think when he's pulled out of deals and gone for alternative targets, it's worked well. He has now landed a big fish in Declan Rice, a marquee signing that I think, I say he has, he's on the precipice of, it's going to happen, it's just a question of time. And we've made some really smart, intelligent recruitment decisions along the way. And I think, as the man who runs the department, he has to get some credit for that. Retention, I think he's doing very well on that front too. We've seen new contracts for the likes of Gabriel, Bukayo Saka, Aaron Ramsdale. More to come. Gabriel Martinelli has signed. We're expecting William Saliba to sign before too long. Reiss Nelson. When it comes to player retention, there was Emil Smith-Rowe as well under contract from a couple of summers ago now. Edu has shown he can get it done with the help of Richard Garlick and the board. But player sales is the asterisk against Arsenal sporting director. It is the one thing that he's not yet demonstrated a great aptitude for. There have been some good sales, don't get me wrong. Emi Martinez for £20 million to Aston Villa. That was a good sale. I know he's gone on to do great things, but for a player who had very limited experience at the top level, that was a good sale, a good decision, especially given that we also had Bernd Leno on the books. I think that was a good decision and a decent amount of money for a young player. I believe Eddie was at the club when Alex Iwobi was sold, but I think he was less involved at that time. Obviously, Raul Sanllehi was kind of overseeing things during that period. But this summer, we have a number of first-team players who could and should be sold. Pablo Mari is gone, but that was a pre-existing agreement that was in place. Xhaka, it looks like, is now going for a decent chunk of money. If Thomas Partey goes, I think it has to be for a decent chunk of money. Otherwise, Arsenal are substantially weakening their squad. Kieran Tierney is one that's been long talked about. Newcastle have been interested. You'd be looking for Arsenal to get north of £30 million there on a deal for Kieran Tierney. Balogun, another who Arsenal should command a decent fee for. You know, you see these young academy prospects moving from other big clubs, commanding big fees. It's time for Arsenal to start doing that as well. And that's why I think this Xhaka sale price is so pivotal, because it's the first major sale of this very, very important summer. And had Arsenal sold Xhaka at a cut price, a knockdown fee, 13 million quid, doing Bayer Leverkusen a favour, I think it would have made our life very difficult in other negotiations. Ultimately, Arsenal went through a thing, you know, over the last few years where they paid off a number of key players, let them go for nothing, essentially, or in some instances, paying them compensation to leave. That was something Edu and Mikel Arteta thought was necessary to kind of flush out the squad and create space in the wage budget. I think they've kind of been proven right there. The problem with that sort of strategy is it does have a bit of a hangover. And if you're a buying club looking at an Arsenal player, particularly one coming towards the end of his contract, you may well think, well, look, we'll just wait it out. Sooner or later, Arsenal will just pay him off. I'm sure people who are interested in Nicola Pepe will be looking at the situation thinking the same thing. If we can kind of maybe drive Arsenal down, they might end up paying the player off. We have to end that now. Sooner or later, you can't keep doing that. If we want to continue to spend at the kind of level we've been spending in the market, we have to regenerate. We have to bring in funds. It was a big part of Edu's pitch to the board. Let's go with youth. Let's go with young players that will retain value so that when we sell them, we can reinvest. Arsenal have a squad full of players that other clubs will consider desirable at this point in time. Even those who aren't necessarily starters week in, week out. Kieran Tierney is a great example. We have to begin to turn that into tangible profit. And I'm hoping that this Leverkusen deal with Xhaka is the start of that. I think it sends an important message. And letting him go for cheap at this point in time would have been very, very damaging. I'll leave that there for now, guys. And I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, like and subscribe, all the usual stuff. Bye-bye.